Hey yo, what is poppin'? It's your boy Fizz and I'm bringing you guys the MPL Majors Week 8 battle, and I'm going up against Max Rapture, coach of the Tasmanian Toxicroaks. Now, Max has himself a pretty scary team here, and in general, we're winding down the season, last two games of the season. Next week, I go up against Root, I believe, for Week 9. There are 9 weeks in this league, not like 8 or 10 or anything like that. It's a 9-week league, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, it means so much for me to win these next two games because I've been in playoff contention pretty much the entire season. I've had incredible differential compared to the guys below me, but records are very, very similar between us. I'm always like one game ahead of everybody else. So that means I really need to keep up my momentum in these next 2 weeks. I really need to pick up W's here to ensure my playoff position. So I really need to do my best here in these next few games. And yeah, this is actually coming off like a little hiatus from YouTube, Twitch, and Discord. In general, I had some personal issues going on. No need to worry though, I'm okay. The situation's okay, don't worry about it. But yeah, I'm back making YouTube. Gonna be streaming on Twitch. Gonna be active on Discord again. So don't worry about that, I'm here. So yeah, not gonna get into much detail about that. But yeah, nevertheless, here, I'm just gonna jump right into Max's team. He has a very scary team with the Celesteela, Z Celesteela nevertheless. Mega Altaria, Arcanine, Conkeldurr, Nido, Queen, Starmie, Roserade, Umbreon, Alolan, Dugtrio, and the Manectric. So, pretty scary team. Celesteela is a bitch, man. It pretty much checks my Lele, or it's a really good soft check to my Lele, and it's a hard wall to my Excadrill. To be honest, without that Celesteela there, Excadrill really does like run through his entire team because his grass type is neutral to Earthquake. And yeah, his entire team kind of gets manhandled by Excadrill, but if I get that Celesteela chip, Excadrill looks really good. And yeah, Celesteela is also known for my Scolipede from like sweeping, or yeah, just sweeping and breaking in general. So yeah, Celesteela is a really big defensive wall that poses a really big threat to my entire team. So I really need to chip that down in order for my team, in order for my team to succeed. Mega Altaria, it's pretty scary, but like I'm not too worried about it. It's a pretty good check to something like the Mega Gyarados, so I think that's why he'll bring it. And the Conk, I really have no switch-ins into. Like Kofag, it kind of gets one going by the Conkeldurr, you know what I mean? Like if it has an Iapapa Berry or something like that, something that gives it recovery, which I don't really anticipate, it can definitely 1v1 it, because like it doesn't really care about burns because it's gonna run Guts for sure. It can run Bulk Up, Knock Off as well on my Kofag, so nothing on my team really checks Conk really too well except for the Hippo. But I need to, that Hippo's going to get checked really easily, like with Drain Punch, stuff like that. So yeah, those are the big 3 threats that I'm pretty worried about in this matchup, to be honest with you. And yeah, I'm just going to jump right into my team, no time wasted. So yeah, right here I have the Z Thunderbolt Tapu Lele with 3 attacks. So I felt like this was the best set. The purpose of this Lele was to kind of bait in that Celesteela and not necessarily kill it with Z Thunderbolt. Like, I don't really expect it to kill. That's why I'm not running Z Thunderbolt. I don't really need it to kill. I just need to put as much chip on it as possible for my Excadrill and Scolipede. That's exactly why this Lele exists. And if I have a sub up on the switch into the Celesteela, I'm able to Z Thunderbolt that thing, and you can Heavy Slam back. And then it's a win-win, right? I get that Celesteela damage, like, gigantically, and I'm still alive with my Lele. So that's the point of the set here pretty much, and it does pretty good work against the rest of his team, to be honest. Like Dual Stab does really nicely against his team, except for like the Alolan Dugtrio, but I'm not, it's not gonna be switching into 2 Psychics, even though I don't think it will come. So yeah, that's the point of this Lele set, just to chip down that Celesteela for my Excadrill and my Scolipede. So I think it's gonna put in a lot of work here. Next up I have my Excadrill, Life Orb, Max Attack Adamant with 3 attacks SD. SD is really good because it allows me to break through the Umbreon and Conkeldurr much better than without SD, And Break, it's pretty much only there to be able to hit Celesteela unusually. Also breaks screens, which I don't really know why would it bring screens on his team, but it was a good, decent hit on the Celesteela unusually. Like, like after a Z Thunderbolt from the Lele, it's in range of a Break, so that's why I have that on there. Dual Stab, it makes sense, and he has a pretty slow team. Like his fastest amount is going to be that Starmie at 115 speed. So with my speed investment, I'm able to outspeed that in Sand, and I have a lot of bulk in order to take things from Celesteela much better, and the Roserade slightly better. I'm not going to be switching into those things, but I'm able to SD in front of him and then be able to hit them pretty hard. So that's the point of this Excadrill. It looks really good late game once that Celesteela is chipped enough, and in general looks really nice. The only thing that's stopping is like Mach Punch Conk, but I really don't know how I feel about that tech right there, because I do have Lele, but I think it's his best option in order to deal with my Excadrill other than Celesteela. So I think he can definitely tech the Mach Punch on there. Next up I have my Starmie switch in pretty much, and my Roseade switch in. All of those big threats. Max Def, Wish Protect with Fire Punch. I mean, self-explanatory, right? Fire Punch gives me damage on that Celesteela. Again, chipping that thing is going to be very valuable for my team. And this is the best switch into Starmie and Roseade that I have in my entire team. So that's why I made a Max Def. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. I can Wish pass out my Lele, my Excadrill, my Kofag, which obviously doesn't have recovery. So yeah, just standard stuff right here. No like further explanation is really needed. And next up I have Max FizzDef Hippowdon. This is able to take on things like physical Mega Altaria, which I don't expect it to come. If it does come, it's not going to be physical, you know, since I do have a lot of big offensive switch-ins. And it also handles the Conk pretty well. I'm able to switch in on it, but I can't really take two Ice Punches super well, you know what I mean? So yeah, this is going to be a soft check to that Conk, but unfortunately I don't outspeed it, so I can't really like kill it with an Earthquake the next turn. So that's pretty sad, but I don't really care. This is here for Rock Sand to set up Sand for my Excadrill. That's pretty much what it's for. And yeah, straightforward stuff right here. Max FizzDef, pretty cool stuff. Second to last summon is going to be that Scolipede. This is a secondary breaker or cleaner with my Excadrill. Like late game, once Excadrill can potentially break instead of sweep, like it can break his entire team because he has no real switch-ins. Late game, I'm able to like sweep with Scolipede because my dual stab with Earthquake does really nicely against his team. His best switch-ins is going to be that Conk or that Celesteela potentially, and that's really all he has. But again, Celesteela is going to get very, very pressured in this matchup in my opinion. So yeah, I didn't really need Protect since I outspeed everything on his team anyway, other than like Starmie. But I'm not worried about Starmie when I have a Licky. And yeah, I have Spikes on there because Spikes also look really good against his team in order to chip down that Conk and the Roserade Umbreon, stuff like that. Spikes looks just really good against his team. So yeah, this is really nice. Expert Bell, I didn't really need Life Orb. I didn't really want Life Orb, rather. I didn't want any more residual damage on me with Sand, with Rock, stuff like that. And next up I have, I don't know. Shadow Ball, Rest, Mean Look, Calm Mind. This is a set that I got inspired from by Dark and LD. I saw Dark kind of wheelchair my good pal Blue in the Majors, like, what is relegation game, I think? Maybe it was playoffs, round 1 playoffs. I don't really know. I think it was a relegation game. But yeah, he kind of wheelchaired Blue with a similar set to this. It was like Shadow Ball, Mean Look, Setup, and like Shadow Ball. Wait, you know what I mean? It was something similar to this. And I don't know, I don't think he had Cobra Berry, but this Cobra Berry is just there so I can take a knockout from Conk. I don't have residual recovery, but that's why I Wish Pass, you know. I think that's going to be very valuable for me. But yeah, this is kind of to lure in that Umbreon, and then I'm able to Calm Mind in front of it, unless he has Taunt, which I don't know if he'll bring or not, but I'm kind of banking on the fact that he won't bring Taunt on his Umbreon. I'm able to Mean Look that thing, prevent it from switching, and he obviously can't Toxic me, because I've rested, I don't really care about Toxic at all. And Foul Play is going to be bouncing off me, and if he has like Dark Pulse for whatever reason, with enough Calm Minds, I'm able to take hits from that really nicely. And I can pretty much 1v1 that Umbreon very easily with this Kofag, and then nothing else on his team really has a response to like a +5 Kofag, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the point of the set, to learn that Umbreon and trap that thing, and I'm able to set up in front of it and kind of break a big hole in his entire team. So yeah, that's the point of this Kofag. I don't really know how well it would work, but hopefully it works well for me, similar to what it did for Dark and LD. So yeah, it's gonna be my team. I think it's a pretty straightforward team. Like, I think just once I pressure that Celesteela enough, I think my Excadrill goes absolutely nuts against his team. Same thing with my Scolipede. So that's gonna be the game plan here against Max, and I'm just gonna jump right into the battle against him. Hey, yo, we are back with the battle against Max on Showdown. Good luck, have fun, of course. And I know you know the whole spiel. My DS doesn't work. I almost said Dr. Pepper. My DS doesn't work anymore, so I have to play on Showdown. The rest of my games are on Showdown, unless we figure out something on Citra. but that doesn't look to be the case for the rest of the season. But yeah, anyways, we're here against Max, and he decides to bring a team consisting of the Celesteela, the Conkeldurr, Umbreon, Starmie, Arcanine, and the Roserade. Nothing really surprises me. The only thing that I didn't really expect that much is it's gonna be that Arcanine. You know, I felt like Mega Altaria was pretty good for my Mega Gyarados, because if you look at his team, he doesn't really have Mega Gyarados checks on his team unless that's a Scarf Roserade, which can definitely be possible. So that's something I'm gonna keep in mind against my against Max here. So yeah, it looks to be like nothing out of the ordinary other than that, and I'm just gonna lead off with my Scolipede here. Spikes looks just really good against his team, and I plan to just go for the Spike right here, except something changed my mind to go for Poison Jab. It was like me considering the fact that Roserade could very well go for the HP Fire, expecting that Spike the first turn, or T-Spike, probably the Spike the first turn. He could definitely HP Fire me and two-shot me, and I can't kill Roserade in one hit. So I went for the Poison Jab instead. Kind of like a wussy play on my end, but he reveals a Rocky Helmet, which is good information for me to know, but Spike was always a better play there. He goes for the Burn Up right here on my Hippowdon, which I take very comfortably. Doesn't two-shot me. Obviously, he can't go for it again because that's the way the Burn Up works. So right here, I'm just going to go for the Rock Suppress for his team, and chip damage on his team is going to be really nicely. But he misses a Toxic right there, which kind of sucks for him. I'm just going to go for the Earthquake. Nothing really wants to switch in. If he goes into Celesteela, like, I can roar him out, force him to take more Rock Chip for my Execute late game. So yeah, I felt like I was in a really good position now that he missed that Toxic with the, what's it called, the Dog. So yeah, he goes into Starmie. I kind of was thinking he would go for the Spin here, but Hippowdon is very, it's very valuable for my team here, as he reveals a Recover. So he's probably Recover 3 attacks potentially, but he's lefties right here. So I kind of anticipate him being Spin as he's going to reveal right here. So I go for the Body Slam, hoping for a Para, and just a good way to chip on his team. So yeah, he reveals with that set that he's like 2 attacks, Recover, Spin. So that's fine by me. He doesn't really have coverage, or he either doesn't have Dual Stab, or he doesn't have like Ice Beam or Energy Ball or Thunderbolt. You know what I mean? So yeah, I go into my Scolipede here. I don't really know why, but right here is an opportunity to set up Spikes, but I felt like this was my better opportunity to go into my Kofag and start wreaking havoc. But he goes into the Conk over the Umbreon, which I was honestly surprised about. I felt like Umbreon was so free against that Kofag, because Umbreon doesn't really do anything else against my team, you know what I mean? So I felt like mean looking the Umbreon coming in was always a better play, but in hindsight, maybe Calm Mind was much better, because I could have Shuttle Balled this thing and done a lot, but you know, hindsight plays. I really thought Umbreon would be the switcher, but yeah, I'm kind of forced to go for the Calm Mind right here, I think. What do I go for? Yeah, go for the Calm Mind right here, as that knockoff does 24 with as he knocks off my Colbur, but that knockoff does way too much, and at this point I can't really sack anything else, so I'm kind of forced to get as much chip with this Kofag on the Conk, like as much chip as possible with this thing, you know, because nothing else is going to be very effective against this Conkeldurr, so I'm kind of forced to sack off this Kofag. I didn't really expect that Conk to do so much damage to me, but +2 Shadow Ball does a really nice amount, so it's in range of like an Excadrill hit. So Kofag at least helped out a tiny bit. Unfortunately, the set did like nothing, but that's okay. So yeah, he just goes into the Lele. As he go for the sub, no way he's staying in. He has to keep that thing for Mach Punching my Excadrill potentially. As he goes into the Umbreon here, and he pretty much sacks it to my Moonblast right here. As you can see, it does a lot. And he breaks my set with Foul Play, and I'm just going to body that thing back. So Umbreon goes down, which is pretty cool. No Wish Pass and shenanigans with the Celesteela. So yeah, right here, I honestly should have gone for the Zeeth T-Bolt. I was thinking that, he could have Heavy Slammed me, and then it would have been really bad. But like Conk, the only thing that Lele really does for me is hitting that Conk and the Arcanine, but like my Excadrill kills both of those anyway. It kills everything on his team outside of Celesteela, so it was honestly a misplay not going for the ZT Bolt there, putting in range of a Brick Break from the Excadrill. So yeah, that's exactly what I should have done right here. And right here, I'm kind of afraid of a Z Giga Drain set, but he reveals Seed Bomb, so that kind of removes all of my worries. So yeah, it's pretty good as I roar him out into Starmie, which is probably the worst possible scenario for me. But that's okay, as he switches back into the Conkeldurr and makes a nice play on my Licky. It was fine for him to go into the Conk. It was a really good play, but I'm kind of forced to go into my Scolipede because right now I need to prevent this thing from getting as much health as possible. So I can't go back into Hippowdon because that'll give him more HP with Drain Punch than if I just go into my Scolipede and hit that thing with a nice Poison Jab or something. So yeah, I actually double back into Hippowdon right here on the Celesteela. I think I'm going to go for my Rocks on this turn, I believe. As he goes for a Leech Seed right here, gets some nice recovery back, but I'm not too worried about it. He was at full anyway. I don't really care about health on the Hippo. I just need it alive to set up that sand for the Excadrill. So yeah, right here he goes for the Autotomize, but I don't really know what he can do to really hurt me because, like, what is he going to have? He's going to have that Autotomize, Seed Bomb, Leech Seed, and Heavy Slam. I think that's going to be set, and that doesn't ever touch the Licky, so I'm just going to keep Fire Punching until I burn him. This is exactly what I do, except it's going to be on the first turn that I click Fire Punch. So it kind of speeds up the end game right there, or the mid game rather. So yeah, with this thing burned, it's going to give me a nice chip for my Excadrill, which is going to be pretty sick. As it goes for Leech Seed right here, and I'm going to Wish up. I felt like he wasn't going to stay in with the Celesteela, and I get a free switch in Lele, but he does end up staying in and going for Leech Seed, which is a pretty nice play on his end. So he goes for the Heavy Slam. I know I live everything, so I'm just going to go for the ZT Bolt here, put everything in range of an Excadrill hit, so I actually knock it out, which is pretty cool. So yeah, Excadrill looks really, really good here towards the end of the game. As he goes for the spin right here, didn't really need Rocks anymore that much, to be honest with you. Like, and again, Excadrill kind of wrecks everything, but the one thing I am kind of worried about is like a Sash Rose Raid or a Scarf Rose Raid, which could be potentially bad for me. But yeah, I break the thing Sash right here with the Fire Punch on Licky, and yeah, it looks to be a clean game for the Excadrill. I think I'm just going to set up for that thing. I'm probably going to switch into the Excadrill pretty soon with my Wish passing Licky. I think that's going to be the best play for me right here. And yeah, I actually go into my Scolipede here because I don't want to pull the trigger on the Excadrill yet. It was the same thing, right? Like, I could either sweep my Excadrill or my Scolipede, and I choose for the Scolipede to be the sweeper late game right here. As you go for the Mega Horn, knock out that Starmie, and everything else is in range of a Poison Jab from my Scolipede. Actually, this thing lived, but I just go into the Hippo and then the Excadrill next turn to finish off the game. But he decides to click the X button right here. GG's to Max. He was a little like frustrated with the Toxic Miss on my Hippowdon. So yeah, I can definitely understand that. But yeah, like Hippowdon, I didn't really need health on it, you know, because Conk was weakened to the point where it didn't live an Excadrill hit. So I wasn't too worried about like Hippo being super healthy, you know. I didn't really need to switch into Conk that it was super low. I just have to like choose my sacks wisely, you know, and then go into Excadrill. And yeah, the Fire Punch on the Celesteela, I don't really know if that like really mattered that much. You know, I'm not like dismissing the hacks or anything. Like, my play was to always go for the Fire Punch and eventually burn up, you know. It just kind of sped up that mid-game process of Licky 1v1ing the Celesteela, so that's how I felt about it. But yeah, we are moving now to 4-4 in MPL right now, so one more win against Root next week in Week 9 will put us above 500, and if we win that game, it will pretty much put us in playoffs, guaranteed. Nothing we can do about it, and I beat out CJ for that final spot. So yeah, CJ, I believe, also won his Week 8 game. So if I win, if I lose next week and he wins, I'm out of playoffs completely. So this is going to be a very, very big game for me, because either he loses and he's completely out and I'm always in, or I lose and he wins and I'm out of playoffs. So it's going to be a very big game. I'm definitely going to be doing my best in that Week 9 game, final week of the season. So yeah, definitely get hyped for that. We pick up a nice 5-0 win over Max. And yeah, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world to me. And like always, have a swell day. Peace.